What I experienced yesterday on my walk with Hazel was so incredibly terrifying, but it actually has everything to do with you. What am I even talking about? I will explain. Stay tuned.
I'm Cristy Code Red, and you're listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle, where we believe food holds the power to heal or poison, and we believe our society has been misled regarding proper nutrition and weight loss. You're in the right place if you're looking for some straight up truth, because I'm here to shed light on the lies and brainwashing that has taken place over the past 5 decades. Thanks so much for listening.
Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. I'm your host, Cristy Code Red, author, entrepreneur, retired professional boxer. And in this podcast episode, we're talking about something that happened to me that was just completely and totally terrifying. And of course, like most things, I turned it into a podcast or turn it into an email newsletter or do something with it. And it has everything to do with you. It 100% applies to you. Let me back up. Let me explain what happened and let me give you some context so you can tell what I'm talking about. The name of the podcast is called Brace for Impact. And I live downtown at the top of the Grove Hotel. I own a condo at the top and I'm right downtown. And so when I walk Hazel, which I do several times a day, Hazel and I wake up early morning. We're usually up by 4. We're on the road by 4:15. We run 3 miles, and that is standard for us. And then we get an additional 5 to 6 extra miles of walking for the rest of the day. So I get right around 16 to 18,000 steps a day. And so Hazel gets walked a lot. Now, because I live downtown, it's very, very safe downtown Boise. It's very clean, very safe. I feel very safe and I have no problems. I have no problem living downtown and as far as safety goes, even if it's really early in the morning or if it's the afternoon. But yesterday, I'm recording this on November 1st. And yesterday was Halloween, and we were taking our evening walk. And I knew there'd be a lot of Halloween people out. I knew there'd be a lot of people dressed up, and I knew it'd be a great chance. Not only did we need an evening walk, Hazel and I needed our evening walk. She needed to go poop and she needed to pee, but I thought it'd be a great chance to desensitize her to the costumes and the different weird things that were happening that usually happen on Halloween. And a side note, as you guys know, I absolutely despise Halloween. I don't celebrate it. I don't talk about it. I don't do anything with it. I don't like it. I don't like it in any way, shape, or form. I won't even drive by Halloween houses that are decorated. I hate it in every way, shape, and form. I do not like Halloween. I almost did not go out for a walk because I knew people would be out dressed up and partying and stuff. But of course, I have a dog. I have no choice. You have to walk your dog. So we were out walking, doing our evening walk, Halloween night. Everything's going fine. And we were walking down 8th Street. And we don't have a real homeless problem in downtown Boise. Now, we do have a very, very, very liberal mayor, Lauren McLean, and we in the city of Boise is quite blue, but we don't tolerate the homeless problem. Homeless people camping out on our streets. We don't tolerate that. We have shelters. They're very good shelters. They're close by. And those homeless people can go to the shelters if they choose to do so. But we don't allow the people to sleep on our streets, and we don't, and we have minimal amount of begging. But there is this homeless guy, and he's there every day, and he has a pit bull. Now, let me stop and say I am absolutely not against pit bulls. Okay, my friend, very close friends, Chris and Sybil Gethin have Slate. You guys have seen him on my Instagram stories. He's a pit bull. I often will babysit for them, dog sit for them. You've seen me numerous times, multiple times with Slate. I'm not prejudiced against any dogs. There are certain dog breeds that have a tendency for certain types of behavior. But you guys remember when I had Vinny? He was a retriever, and he had major dog aggression. He was very leash reactive, and so any dog can have multiple problems. Even though certain dog breeds have certain tendencies towards certain behavior, it really boils down to the way they were raised and the way they were trained and their daily routine and their exercise, etc. So I just don't want to receive any angry emails or angry comments about the fact that I'm calling this out. This dog was a pit bull, just so I can paint a picture for you. We're walking by. I see a homeless guy. He's begging. He's got a sign out. He's trying to get money from people, and he's got a pit bull dog. Now, I've seen this guy every day. I'm very well aware of the dog and the man. And I know the dog's tendencies. And anytime we ever see Hazel and me, we ever see any dog, it doesn't matter what it is, we always give them a wide berth. As you know, I do not allow Hazel to stop and greet any dog. There's no need for her to say hi, quote unquote, to any dog. There's no need to stop. There's no need to smell. There's no need to do any of that. I do not let Hazel greet any dog, and I will not let her greet any dog. And the only dog I'll ever let her greet and get to know is a dog that we're going to have an ongoing relationship with. There's no need for her to play. There's no need for her to do any kind of any contact whatsoever. I do not go to dog parks. I do not interact with other dogs, and she's very, very dog neutral. So I'm super grateful for this. And so we're approaching, we're coming down the street. I know the homeless guy, I know his dog, and I know he's up on the corner. So he's on one side of the street, and we go to the very other opposite side of the street. So he's sitting on the sidewalk on one side of the street. We go to the sidewalk on the other side of the street. And I'm just walking at a normal pace and with Hazel. Well, all of a sudden, that dog gets triggered by us, and he goes in full on attack mode. And it all happened so quick, but in slow motion. Like, I mean, I reacted quickly. He goes in, he starts snarling and barking and lunges towards us and takes off running towards us. And he's in full on snarling attack mode, baring his teeth, and he's going to attack us. And so immediately, as you know, your dog always walks on the left-hand side, and in a nice relaxed arm. There's a certain way to walk a dog, the proper way, when your dog's in a heel, and Hazel was in a heel. And I immediately moved Hazel to the right side and used her German command to the right. And I immediately put myself between her and that dog. And I was going to brace for impact. That dog was coming after us. There was absolutely no question in my mind that we were going to be attacked, that my dog was going to be attacked. No question in my mind. Zero. There was zero question. That was not there. That was going to happen. And so I moved Hazel to the right. I placed myself between her and that dog coming towards us. And I spread my feet kind of in a boxing stance and stood and waited. And I was going to plant a foot right in that dog's head. Now, when I was getting professional training for Vinny, as you guys know, Vinny, I've mentioned him many, many times. Most of you guys know who he was. He was my soul dog. He was the dog that was best suited for my personality. I thought we were going to be together forever. I adopted from the shelter at 9 months old, and he had been abused so severely that he just couldn't get past his problems no matter what I did. But when I had the trainers come to Boise to train Vinny, I remember a dog trying to attack Vinny, and Jason, the dog trainer, had him on the leash. And Jason, I watched Jason defend Vinny against a dog attack. And all that flashed in my mind. And I did the same thing that Jason did. And Jason is very tall. He's like 6'5". He's a big dude, 240. And he planted a boot right in that dog's head. And that dog turned around and came back for more, but that's what he did. And he said, that's how you handle a dog coming to attack your dog. So that's what I was going to do. And with my boxing background, I'm very balanced, and I fully prepared to kick that dog as hard as I could and defend my dog to the very bitter end. There was no way. So here comes this dog running towards us, running. I'm braced for impact. I've got my dog protected. I'm ready. The homeless guy starts screaming his head off for his dog to come back. And at the very last minute, as the leash is flying, the homeless guy, who was much stronger, I think this is why. Oh, no, don't say that, Christy. I was going to go off on a tangent about people begging who are able bodied. He grabs the end of that leash by the tip of his finger, grabs the end of that leash, and right before the dog was able to get to us, he yanked that dog back into position. And we were saved for at the very last moment. The very last moment, that dog was yanked back by his owner. But let me tell you, I was braced for impact. I was ready. I was ready for that full on attack. I was ready, and I knew it was going to be bad. This dog outweighed Hazel. He was coming at full speed. He had his teeth. He was baring his teeth. I mean, he was going to stop at nothing to rip her throat out, and I was going to stop at nothing to defend her. So, what does this have to do with you? Let me tell you. By the way, we were both shaking, Hazel and me. Shaking. We still had about a third of a mile left to get to the condo, and we were waiting for the elevator. We got back to our condo. We were waiting for the elevator, and Hazel was still shaking, and I was still shaking. And I just held on to her, and I was just like, oh, I mean, I don't know what I would do. I can't even, I can't even begin to understand. I can't even begin to tell you like what would happen. I mean, I would come unglued. I would shoot at somebody's dog. I don't even care. Somebody trying to attack my dog unprovoked like that? No, no. So we were pretty terrified. And what does this have to do with you? You've got to be braced for impact in so many areas when it comes to your weight loss journey and your health journey, because the deck is stacked against us. We are bombarded at every turn. And I don't mean to sound like the victim here, and I don't mean to play the victim. I'm not trying to do that. But that's the reality of the world that we live in. The world that we live in is not geared towards health. It's not geared towards doing the right thing by humans. Our government doesn't look out for us. The education system doesn't look out for us. The food companies don't look out for us. Nobody looks out for us but us. And so you've got to be braced for impact at every turn. Now, I'm recording this on November 1st, 2024. We are into the holidays. Halloween just happened last night. We have Halloween candy everywhere. And right now it's on sale 50% off. Tomorrow is going to be on sale 80% off until that Halloween candy is cleared out of the stores. And that's very, very tempting to you as the shopper, as the mom, as the consumer, as somebody who has battled obesity. It's really hard to turn down 80% off candy, especially when it's your favorite candy. If it's Almond Joy, or if it's Reese's Pieces, or if it's peanut M&Ms, like my favorite. It's really hard to, and I've got to go. In fact, I was just making a list of things I needed from the grocery store. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm bracing for impact. I know when I walk into the store, it's going to be 80% off candy. Now, at this moment right now, I'm 15 days out of my bodybuilding competition. So there's absolutely no way that I will even come close to even a drop, a gram, a piece, a slice, a nothing of nothing that's on my plan. Like, I'm not going to cheat at all, not even close to even thinking about cheating. However, I am aware of the situation, and I am aware of the fact that I am depleted on calories. I'm working out 3 hours a day. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm feeling, I'm getting really lean. So that's, when you want to look really good on stage, you got to feel really bad. So I don't feel really great. And my willpower is, I just know it. And you might not be doing a bodybuilding competition, but your dad might be in the hospital. Your kid might be running you ragged. You might be working overtime at work. And there are other things that are dragging you down and making you tired and making you to where your decision making is weakened. All right. You have a weakened willpower, or you have weakening resolve. And so you've got to be braced for impact as you go into the grocery stores following Halloween, when they're trying to get rid of their candy at 80% off, practically giving it away for free. And you're thinking to yourself, I'll put it in my freezer. I'll save it for next year. No, you won't. You will eat it. Don't do that. I can't even believe you'd even considered bringing that into the house. One of the top 3 rules with Code Red is, for a long lasting weight loss, is you always step on the scale every morning. You always drink the full amount of water that we drink every single day. And you never allow sugar to come into your house. You just can't. As a recovering sugar addict, we don't allow sugar to come into our house. So you can't bring it into your house. Don't even try to spin this a certain way about the discount or the I'll freeze it, or I don't care what you're saying. You're wrong. Don't do it. All right. It's not going to happen that way. So I am braced for impact because the Halloween candy is 80% off. You've got to be braced for impact during the holidays. You've got to understand that there are parties, there are gatherings, there are family get togethers. Things are happening all the time through the month of November, through the month of December, and a little part of January until things kind of line back out. We are braced for impact. It's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen. You know it's coming. You know your mother in law does this to you. You know what she makes. You know your mom's been making green bean casserole every year for 4 decades. You know it's coming. You know that Aunt Sally's gonna say something. You know your mom's going to pressure you. You know your coworkers are going to have a certain party. You know what they're going to bring. You know they're going to have donuts at church when you walk in. Brace for impact. Be ready. Get between you, your dog, and that dog, and be ready to kick that dog in the head. Spread your feet, distribute your weight, get down low, and get ready to defend yourself. Why is this so hard? We know what's coming. We're not surprised by the holidays. We're not surprised by our mother in law. We're not surprised by the classroom treats. We're not surprised that there are bowls of candy on everybody's desk in every single businesses you go into. Why are you acting like that's new? You know it's coming. I can see and hear that dog coming. I was braced for impact. I was ready to defend myself. I don't want you to go into situations like a jerk, you know, like you know, you're loaded for bear and your chest is puffed out and you're walking in like, "Don't say anything to me, anybody." And now you're being like a jerk. Like, look, when I say brace for impact, not don't do it out loud to where everybody you bring attention to yourself. We all get it. All right? We all get it. Like don't do it. All right, just don't be a jerk about it. Just know that it's coming. It's coming. It's going to happen. Church potluck, school gatherings, family get-togethers, work parties. They are coming. Why is this so surprising to you? It should not be a surprise. It happens every year, for crying out loud. It's not like you're 11 years old, you're in your 60s, you're in your 50s. It's happened decade after decade. If you've been married to the same man for a while, you know what his tendencies are. If you've had these kids, you know what the tendencies are. If you've been in your husband's family, you know what his family's tendencies are. Crying out loud, be braced for impact. Another way that I'm braced for impact is I am competing in the High Roller Royale bodybuilding show in Las Vegas on November 16th. And when we do bodybuilding shows, you like I mentioned earlier, you lower your calories lower and lower and lower and lower. You do more and more and more cardio. You get as lean as possible. That way, when you get on stage, the judges can see all the little muscles popping out everywhere, and then you get judged. Now, coming out of that is called the reverse. We reverse people on Code Red in maintenance. It's almost the exact same thing we do in bodybuilding, but not quite. We use a couple of different methods to do that. But when someone loses their weight and they come into the maintenance program, I have to reverse them out of weight loss and into maintenance. And we want to start building up calories. And we want to get you, because we don't want you to be low calorie forever. We don't want that. That's not what we want. We just do that in order to get you all the way down to goal weight. But then we have to figure out what life is going to look like. And we have to get to what life is going to look like, your new norm, your new set amount. And you don't want to go right back. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to jump right back into what you were doing before, because you'll just put the weight on. I've seen people put on 30 pounds in 1 week. Yes, I said 1 week. You could be like me when I came out of my last show, put on 35 pounds in 1 month. Yes, I was eating right around 7,000 calories a day. Yeah, it's disgusting. I did not have a reverse plan. The reverse plan coming out of a bodybuilding show is actually more difficult and more important than the plan going into your show. Even if that can even be believable, I just go, "What? Really? Like really more important?" Yes, and I lived it. So I'm very, very, very aware of the tendency to revert because I did it wrong before. The tendency to reverse wrong without the right plan or not doing the plan. In my case, I didn't have a plan. I wasn't given a plan. So I kind of like just went right back to my old ways and I put on the weight right in 1 month. I put on all my weight. 6 months of hard work, put it on in 1 month. And by the way, it's taken me a year to lose that weight, a year to lose that weight. So I'm aware that the tendency is there to put the weight right back on after the show. So I am braced for impact. I'm already, and I've been for the last couple of weeks, actually, the last couple of months, already talking about coming out of the show, what the reverse is going to look like for me. I've already been given my reverse plan. I'm already thinking about it. I'm already rehearsing it. I know what's going to happen as soon as I get on that plane to come home from Vegas. You get out of the show, and the tradition for bodybuilders is everybody goes out to dinner, and you usually have your first cheat meal that you've had in depends on how long you've been prepping, 20 weeks, you know? Maybe it's 20 weeks, maybe you've been prepping for 16 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 I don't know, however long you've been prepping. But even in bodybuilding, when you're off season and you're not in prep, you don't really cheat in bodybuilding. They're just not that way. It's just that when you cheat as a bodybuilder, it really sets you back. And when you cheat as code red, it sets you back even further. So we just don't cheat. And as a code red rebel, I'm a code red rebel first and a bodybuilder second. I I don't know what the night of the show is going to look like for me. Now I have 4 of my Code Red certified coaches coming to Vegas to watch me. I'm so incredibly grateful for that. I've got 4 of them coming to watch me in Vegas. And so afterwards, I'm sure we're going to all want to be together. We're going to want to go somewhere together. But the girls, we just don't eat late, and none of us can eat. We can't sleep when we eat late. None of us really eat sugar because we're all recovering sugar addicts. And I've had my bodybuilder friends ask me, "Hey, what are you going to have the night after the show?" And I'm like, I'm a Code Red Rebel. We just don't really believe in that. Plus, as a bodybuilder, when you're so depleted and then you have something like pizza that's highly inflammatory, you can bloat up like a tick. And then you swell up, you can break out in hives, you can get real swollen. Like it's really, you're so super sensitive and susceptible to really high sugar, highly inflammatory oils, a lot of carbs. You got to be really careful with that first meal coming off stage because you're dehydrated and you don't have a lot of sodium in you. So your body just hangs on to everything and you could bloat up really, really bad. So that first night, it just doesn't make any sense to go off the rails. It just doesn't. I remember my friend Chelsea Rogers, she's an IFBB pro, and I asked her one time, I was at her show in Salt Lake City, the Wasatch, and I said, "What are you going to do tonight?" I said the same thing to her that everybody says to, "What are you going to do?" And she goes, I'm going to have a ribeye steak and a baked potato." That was her cheat meal. Now, is a baked potato bad? No. Is ribeye? Absolutely not bad. But bodybuilders generally, most of them don't eat red meat when they're leading into a show because you can't get as lean on red meat. Now, I can tell you for me personally, I feel better on red meat, but I don't lose as much body fat on red meat. That's just the way that I am leading into a show. But that's why I get Crosso meat subscription because when I'm not prepping, I eat a pound of Crosso meats every single day. And I feel so great on it. I feel so great on it. And you can get a subscription delivered to your door of Crosso meats by going to coderedlifestyle.com/meat, MEAT, and using that code red at checkout. That's going to give you free ground beef in your box. And you can get beef and pork delivered to your door. It's cheaper than going to the grocery store, especially with the grocery prices right now. And it's premium quality. So I'm on a subscription. I get 20 pounds delivered per month to my condo because I eat a pound a day. So I'm not against red meat in any way, shape, or form, but we know it's just that leading into a show, we usually stick with turkey or chicken or white fish. And so when Chelsea's idea of cheating was not cheesecake, it wasn't pizza, it wasn't burger and fries, it wasn't sushi, it wasn't any of that stuff. It was a ribeye steak, so a high fat steak and a baked potato, which is not something we eat a lot of either when we're trying to get stage lean. And so that's interesting. That's interesting that would be her cheat meal, and I have a feeling that's gonna be mine, if you can even call it that, because if I go to have a cheesecake, I don't even like cheesecake, I don't know why I keep mentioning that, but I guess if you were to ask me what would be my cheat meal, I don't know, I haven't had pizza in so long, I forgot what it tastes like, maybe a slice of pizza, but I do know if I go to have a pizza after this long of not having any, and if I have a Domino's or some sort of a real cheap pizza, I'm just gonna be miserable, I won't be able to. I'll have diarrhea. I'll be constipated. Then when I do go to the bathroom, it'll be diarrhea. I'll probably get nauseous and want to throw up. I'll bloat up like a tick. I won't be able to button my pants. Like my everything will bloat up. I won't be able to get my rings off. It will be really nasty. So I don't think I'm going to do that. But see, the reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm braced for impact. I know that after the show, I won't have that carrot dangling in front of me, keeping me on the straight and narrow. See, I'm a binging bodybuilder. I have the tendency to binge eat. And when I'm in prep, the reason I like being in prep so much and the reason I like competing is because it keeps me from binging. And so that's not good, by the way. It's not good to do things like this in order to just keep from binging. But at least I recognize my tendencies. My tendency is to binge. I don't purge, I just binge. And when I'm in prep and I'm working with a coach, I don't do that. But I can't be working with a coach for the rest of my life. Like, I got to get a hold of this. So I'm already preparing my mind. I'm already bracing for impact. As soon as I get off that plane on Sunday, I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to drive to the boarding facility and pick up Hazel and come back. And then I'm going to prep my meal for the next morning, which will be Monday morning. Hazel and I will get up at 4 like we always do, and we're going to run. We're going to still stick with the same routine. I'm going to still have the same meal I always have. I'm still going to mind my macros. I'm still going to stick with the same calorie amount because reversing out of a show is a 4 to 6 week process that builds you back slowly. And I'm bracing for impact. I'm already bracing for impact. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, God, Cristy, that's miserable. Not more miserable than putting on 35 pounds in a month. Not more miserable than going back to the where I was. That's not more miserable than that. Call it what you want. This is my lot in life. I struggle to keep my weight down. I come from a very fat family and a very obese family. I've been fat before. I do not want to go back. And I'm on borrowed time, guys. I've lost the weight once, I gained it back. It took me a year to lose it again. And I don't want to gain it back because I have a sneaky feeling in the deep gut, in the pit of my stomach. I have this sneaky feeling that I will not be able to lose it again if I gain it back again. And some of you are experiencing that now. You've lost and gained and lost and gained, and now it's just not wanting to come off, is it? Or it's coming off really, 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 really slowly. It has taken me a year to lose what I lost before in 2 months. Yes, I'm not kidding you, a year. What if I do this again and I gain back the weight again? What's that going to look like? 2 years to lose the weight? 5 years to lose the weight? I can't go back, nor do I want to. I feel so good. So I'm bracing for impact right now, 2 weeks before the show even takes place. I'm already going through the steps. I'm going to get off the plane. I'm going to walk to my car. I'm going to get in the car, drive to the facility, get Hazel, bring her home. I'll probably feed her depending on when my flight gets back. I mean, it's only Vegas. I think I'll be home by noon. She eats at 2. I'm already going through the steps in my mind because I don't want to turn and like a zombie go right to the C-store and buy candy and sit and eat candy all of Sunday. And then Monday morning not feel good. So I'm not going to get up and run. I'm not going to get up and do anything. I'm going to take myself to breakfast and have a big plate of pancakes. And then that's how it gets started. And you can't stop it. You can't stop that train once it gets going. we had a Code Red certified coach years ago, and she said that she'd lost over 100 pounds on Code Red, and she became a Code Red coach. She was, I think, 220 pounds. She got down to 120. She looked amazing. She was in her 60s, and she has grandkids. And she quit coaching and stepped away from Code Red. Didn't there were no hard feelings. She just decided she didn't want to coach anymore. That's totally fine. This was years ago. And it all started with a cupcake. She made cupcakes for her grandchild for her grandchild's birthday, and there were 3 cupcakes left over, and they were sitting on her counter. So she licked the frosting off of one, and then she ended up eating it. And then she said, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and eat all 3 of them so they're done, and I'm going to start over on Monday." And Monday never came, and she never started over, and she gained back all 100 plus pounds. And that has happened to every single Code Red coach who has left Code Red. They've all gained their weight back. All the mentors who have left Code Red, they've all gained the weight back. And it's because they go right back to their old ways, and they don't mind the rules. They're not braced for impact. They think it won't happen to them. I am here to tell you, I used to think that about me. I would have bet on me. I would have put money down. Oh, that will never happen to me. No way, Jose. Look at how good I look and feel. And it did. And it did. So don't think for 1 second that I don't know it could happen again. I know it could happen again in a second. So I'm bracing for impact right now. I'm already planning ahead. I'm already going through the steps. You guys know the Blue Angels fighter pilots from the Blue Angels. They're the ones that fly in formation. They fly those F-16s in formation. They meditate, all of them in the room. They all sit in a room before they get out and do a show or do any kind of flying together, because they're within inches of each other. And their timing has to be perfect. I mean, can you imagine flying an F-16 within inches of the other guy, wing upon wing upon wing? They're stacked. I mean, they do these turns where everything's in unison. They sit in a room and they meditate and they go through mental drills. They have these pretend, like they sit in a circle, and their eyes are closed and their hands are on the stick of the plane, and they're going through the motions in their mind, and they're meditating the whole time. They're going through the whole thing. They don't even they do train, but that's part of their training too. And that's what I'm doing. I'm already going through the whole thing in my mind, what it's going to look like. I'm going to go through the steps, and I'm thinking of that now. I'm not thinking about the stage. I'm thinking about beyond the stage. I'm bracing for impact right now. And believe it or not, when that dog was coming towards me, when that pit bull was snarling and trying to attack us, I actually said to myself, okay, like something flashed in my mind. How can I get to West Vet quick if I need to? Like, that's like, okay, I can flag down. Like, I mean, I was already going through my mind of, if Hazel gets attacked, how can I get to West Vet? West Vet, by the way, is the only 24-hour emergency vet clinic in the entire state of Idaho. And it's here in Boise off Chinden. And I've been there, unfortunately, many times to West Vet. They're wonderful there. Very expensive, but they're wonderful. I mean, they have the best vets in the nation there at West Vet. And that's how much I was thinking. If she gets attacked, how can I flag down somebody? How can I get to West Vet and get her into surgery and get her, like, if she, like, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to think ahead, people. You've got to think ahead to what life is going to look like after your weight loss. You've got to think ahead to what life is going to look like at the office party. You've got to think ahead at what life is going to look like at your child's classroom party, where they're going to have loads of candy. You got to think ahead when you go grocery shopping and Halloween candy is 80% off and is calling your name. You have to brace for impact. You can't just sit back and act like you got this. You have to meditate your way through it. You have to, I almost said medicate your way through it. No, don't medicate your way through it. I guess if you have to, that's fine. But I'm not at that point. But you have to, we've got the 21-day shift. Maybe you get into that where you can actually shift your mind and shift your identity. You get in the next 10-pound takedown, which starts November 11th. I don't know when this is coming out, maybe after November. I don't know. But get in the next 10-pound takedown, get into our workshops, think ahead, plan ahead, brace for impact, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you will lose your weight. It's a matter of when you will get into maintenance, and it's a matter of when you will get tempted to gain it back. If it can happen to me, it can happen to you. It will happen to you. Be ready for it. Brace for impact. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. And guys, I will see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. If you are looking for some hardcore accountability to get and keep this weight off, look no further, because I've got VIP Connection. This is the ultimate connection to me, just short of me sleeping on your couch. You're going to get 3 daily messages from me in real time directly to you. You're going to submit your weight every Friday. We're going to go over it in a weekly meeting on Sunday nights, and I'm going to give you feedback. You'll have access to a monthly VIP breakfast with me in Boise, a monthly VIP supplement box, access to any workshop, any PDF promo that I hold for that month. You'll have access to the Ringside membership. And best of all, you'll have a fully customized nutrition program written just for you. We're talking about over $3,000 total value for $397 a month, and you can cancel anytime. Go to coderedlifestyle.com/VIP to check that out.